welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor, and I am coming to you from an undisclosed location. I've always wanted to say that. So we're in stage 2 of the move, and we have all of our stuff packed. The movers came, and the dogs and I are now staying in an Airbnb. That's like an oasis. It's actually really beautiful, really beautiful. And it's a little echoey. It's a gigantic room that I'm in, and there isn't any carpet and there's not a lot of furniture, so it's kind of echoey. Hopefully that doesn't come through in the recording. But I did want to share with you just the giganto mistake that I made the other day. I haven't recorded because there's been too much going on and I have been wrecked. My symptoms have just been so heightened. And so this is what happened. I woke up the morning before I was supposed to come to the Airbnb, and I actually had reserved, so I thought, the Airbnb for that day through October 8th. Okay, it's like 2 weeks or a little over a week and a half. And so I woke up in the morning and I was like, so what's today? Today's Friday. So it was Wednesday morning. I woke up and I was like, why haven't I received an email that tells me how to get into the Airbnb? You know, you usually get like an email with like the code or whatever. I'm like, I'm supposed to go there I mean, for all they know, I was supposed to go there that day, that evening. So why haven't I received it? So I went on to Airbnb and looked at the reservation, and I reserved it for 2026 instead of this year. And I just about, my heart dropped into my toes. And I was like, the one thing that I was responsible for, I failed. I was really upset. This is the kind of stuff, like immediately I was like, this is the kind of shit that happens to me post stroke. Like I can't do anything right. I just kept just totally beating myself up. I called my sister. I was terrified to tell my husband that I screwed up. So I called my sister. I mean, I could have told him. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but the thing is I didn't want to add stress. He already has enough stress like dealing with the move and everything. So I called my sister instead, and she was in the car with her best friend, and I was like, "Oh my, I reserved the Airbnb for next year. What am I going to do? I'm supposed to have it starting today." And so she called my brother-in-law and my nephew, and they went online and found another Airbnb for me that I was able to reserve from that day forward until whenever I needed it in the first week of October. And so everything was fine. Actually, this place that we're staying is, like I said, it's like an oasis. It's better than the one I had, but the other one was supposed to be closer to my sister. This one is closer to my mom, but it's still not as close as I wanted to be. But it's happening. So we're good. We're here. It's the dogs and I. Boris, the bulldog, has been extremely stressed out, but he's dealing. Autumn just keeps stop licking her paws, but she's fine. She's very carefree, Autumn. She can handle anything. Boris is just the biggest challenge I think we have with Boris is that he won't jump up on the bed. So, I've tried to get him to do it and he won't do it. I can either lift him, he's 70 pounds and I have a bad back. or they can sleep in their crates. And that might be what we do tonight. I haven't made a decision yet. So that's happening. They might be better off in their crates, honestly. So Autumn won't wake up in the middle of the night barking. So that's my life. And what I wanted to talk about today is fending off loneliness because that is what resonates with me today. So being in this Airbnb with the dogs, it's kind of lonely. It's a very large place and it's kind of lonely. I can't watch TV, as you know. So, the TV often is something that we fill the room with, like have that sound fill the room so we feel less lonely. I mean, how many times have you sat and watched a movie or just watched like a marathon of I can't think of a show right now. Drop Dead Diva. I don't know why that came to mind. I used to love that show until it went off already. Like it was super short. They only did like one season and I thought it was great. Anyway, Drop Dead Diva. Like you just watch it because it's something to do and it fills the space, it fills the time, it fills the silence. And so the TV really seems to play a role when fending off loneliness. Well, I can't do that. Um, so yesterday, what I did was after being riding here in the car, I took Dramamine, which did a great job in making me not feel nauseous, but I had like severe pains in my head the whole day yesterday, like severe, like I was like moaning in pain. Um and it's gone today. So it's like whenever I take off the edge of one of the symptoms, whatever's underneath will get worse. So I fight the headache and I'm nauseous. If I fight the nausea, then the headache is worse. So what the best answer is always to avoid the things that trigger my head. But riding in the car this time was not something that I could avoid. And it was something we were planning for. So we figured I would try Dramamine. And honestly, I'd rather have a headache than feel nauseous. So I'll probably do it again when we end up driving to our next undisclosed location. So I did end up sitting down. My husband got me some microwave popcorn and some Twizzlers, which is movie food. And if you didn't know that, that is what you eat when you watch a movie, period. I eat it at the movie theater and I eat it if I have a movie on here. So what I did was there's a big screen TV and I put a movie on with audio description and I listened to the movie. The first movie I tried to listen to was a romance, and I could not for the life of me stop looking at the screen. So I watched probably less than half of it and I turned it off because I was feeling nauseous. I'm like, I can't keep doing this to myself. I was just in the car, like, you are just making things worse. So I turned off the TV. And I don't know what else I did. I worked on getting things settled and listening to my book. And I thought, I'm going to try it again. I know you guys are like, what, Rachel, just, I thought, let me just try it one more time. So this time, I don't remember what the first movie was that I was listening to. But the second movie that I listened to was called Nona's, and it's on Netflix, and it's super cute. It's a bunch of old grandmas who become chefs at a restaurant, and it's actually a movie based on a real story in a real restaurant, and it's really cute and really funny. And I did a pretty good job not looking at the TV. So I was able to listen to the whole movie. I'd be lying if I said I didn't look at the screen the whole time. It's really difficult if you imagine listening to a movie and they say that one of the actresses walks in and she has on like an extremely revealing outfit and she's got this, she's all styled up and everything. I mean, you want to look. You just want to look. So that's what I did. And there was a couple times that there was an actress that I was like, oh, I know that voice. And I was right. It was the witch old lady from Anastasia? No, Enchanted, the movie Enchanted, one of my favorite movies. It was the old lady who gives the ench and sorry, I'm trying to think of the names. Gazelle. I think that's her name. Gazelle. Anyway, gives her an apple. The old lady, she was in Nona's. So, anywho, I was able to listen to the movie. And then after that, I had some dinner. And so, what I wanted to talk about now that we're like 20 minutes in, I wanted to talk about this like empty feeling that I get. And this empty feeling is one that I remember feeling when when I was little. My mom would take me to Florida to see my grandfather, her dad. And then he ended up moving to Columbus, Georgia to assisted living. And so my mom would take me there to go visit him. And my brother and my sister, like they were older than me and they were working and they got to stay home. And as much as I wanted to always be with my mom and still do, she visited me today, by the way, and it was lovely. Um, I didn't want to go for a week to my grandfather's because it was boring. There was nothing to do. And I, back then, didn't have any hobbies. I mean, imagine me with no hobbies. That was my childhood. So I just got this really lonely, empty feeling, and it was unbearable. It was unbearable. I don't know if any of you know that feeling, but I always felt it when we went to go visit my grandfather. And to this day, when I like go on a trip and I'm staying in a hotel room by myself, I get that lonely, empty feeling. But as I've been in recovery, I've learned how to deal with it. I've learned how to answer that signal that used to tell me to drink. Of course, that's not what it was when I was little, but as soon as I was able to drink, it would completely fix the problem. So today I have this toolkit that I've gotten from my program. And I wanted to talk about this for a couple reasons. One, because I know I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one. But I wanted to talk about what I'm doing because maybe it will help me even more. Yeah, to talk about it. So I noticed yesterday that it was coming. I could feel the emptiness. We're gonna call it loneliness, okay? I could feel it coming. And and I felt kind of like I was dreading it. I feel it right now, actually, because I'm talking about it, but that's okay. And I have you. Even though you're not here, I have you. So I felt it coming and I thought, okay, I have to stay busy right? That's my immediate reaction to this feeling of loneliness. So I went outside, I took the dogs out. I've been very focused on the dogs because Boris is stressed out and I'm getting them used to the area, the outside and the inside. And Autumn wants to run everywhere, so I'm trying to get her to slow down and stuff. So I walk out to this oasis area, and it's just, there's beautiful plants everywhere. And there's like a stamped patio that overlooks the woods. And the woods are as far as the eye can see. And there's like a hill, and you can just see woods forever. And so, and there's like a fire pit out there, and like just all these beautiful plants. And so I walk out there and I'm like, this is nice. Like it's quiet. It's super quiet. And being where we were living, the airplanes were always flying overhead. And so I walk out there, drum roll, please. And there's a bucket, like a Home Depot bucket with like a case, they probably wouldn't fit that many, half a case of empty Corona bottles in it. And I thought, ugh, because I don't want to see that. I don't want to think of alcohol when I feel this lonely feeling. That was really, what it might be is a test. Okay. It might be a test. And that's why I wanted to do the podcast and talk about this today. Because if I can talk through in a positive way. When I'm talking to you, I tend to look for solutions and think positively and walk through some of the stuff that's hard when I'm alone. And that was hard when I was alone, and I saw that yesterday because as soon as I feel that lonely feeling and then I see empty alcohol bottles, it makes me feel like, yeah, wouldn't that be nice? And I don't want to think that. I don't want to think, wouldn't that be nice? What I want to think is, what is the solution for me today? And so just saying out loud, that's a beautiful test for me because there aren't any that have alcohol in them. It's empties. And it's something that, as much as I don't want to be reminded of, it's really a testament to how much I can enjoy myself without alcohol. And there's not only a half a case of empty Corona bottles, but there's also a very large, completely empty bottle of tequila, like a gigantic one. And I don't even know that I've seen a bottle that big of tequila, and it's empty. So that's positive. I wouldn't want it you can pay me to drink tequila, but I'm grateful that it's empty. That's something that I need to also acknowledge because if it wasn't, what would I do? I would send a message to the owner, to the host, and let them know and ask him if there's somewhere in that I can put it. So this place that I'm staying in, the owner actually lives in the house, in a separate area of the house. But anyway, he's been very responsive to me. So, but it's empty. And I don't think that it's something I necessarily need to send a message and complain about it or anything. It's just somebody didn't clean up after themselves back there, and they had a good old time for sure. So that's the empty alcohol bottles. And I feel better now that I've talked through that they're out there, and I can acknowledge that I can have fun with it. I can have fun in a better way than those people did. for sure. And I know that for sure. And I'm not just full of shit. I'm telling you for sure. Um, so do I feel panicked or anything like that? No. Did I go to my meetings? Is everything like my routines and everything are exactly the same? I've done exactly the same. I went to two of my two AA meetings this morning, and I made some jewelry for my mom this morning, and I had my breakfast and my coffee. I even just took a shower. So I'm just doing, I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to focus on letting my symptoms subside. I think that's my priority right now is to try to subside my symptoms. Um, but I had my appointment with my psychiatrist today. It was very timely. We weren't able to meet on Wednesday. I think I forgot. I think that's what happened. Or no, I forgot last week, and then this week we needed to move it. So today was our day. So it's very timely that I got to talk to her because I talked to her about the bottles outside. I talked to her about this feeling, and I've never told anybody about the feeling before. Um, because don't we always think that we're unique? I'm the only one who's ever felt this amplified feeling of isolation and loneliness. Of course not. Of course I haven't. And I don't talk about it. When things feel bad, I don't talk about it. And this podcast gives me a chance to do that. Um, it's like it's like if I don't talk about the feeling, then it's gonna go away. But yet it's not gonna go away. It's gonna do the opposite. This feeling is a red flag to me. It's not a relapse, but it is a precursor to what could be a relapse. It is a prompt to use my recovery tools. Um, and this is why I wanted to share about it because our meeting this morning, my glasses are hurting my head. Isn't that weird? This morning, one of my meetings was about cravings and fighting cravings. And I thought, this is interesting because I have been dealing with this lonely feeling, and I know myself well enough to know that this is one of those feelings that is the precursor to a relapse. It's like people always told me in the program that when you're going to relapse, your relapse starts far before you pick up a drink. And I know what that means because it's feelings like this that start it. It's like understanding the anatomy of my feelings, of like knowing my triggers. And so let's look at the anatomy of my loneliness. Okay. I have fatigue. I have extreme fatigue from the move and everything. Um, I have a extreme heightened feelings of nausea, headache, and even pain in my head, like sharp pain in my head. I have a feeling of, mm, what is that like? I keep thinking of the word mismatch, but like discomfort, uncomfortable because I'm not in a home space. I'm not in a place that I'm comfortable in. I mean, I'm comfortable, but it's not home. And then there's the obsessive thinking that is something that I I connect to my disease. I connect it to alcoholism, depression, and anxiety. It's like when I feel any of these things, when I feel fatigue, when I feel this feeling of discomfort because I'm not in my own home, it becomes obsessive. And I tend to not distract myself from it. I tend to encourage it. It's like I have a little cheerleader on my shoulder that's going, yeah, you feel bad, you feel sad, you feel lonely, you feel, stressed, you feel a headache, you feel tired, you feel fatigued, like I can just hear her, waving her pom-poms on my shoulder. And that's my obsessive thinking. And I need to acknowledge it and transition to something that's going to redirect me. And what I've been doing over the past 24 hours, so it's been a little over 24 hours that I've been doing this. And what what I resort back to is what's the next right thing. And I hate to say that because I know like early in sobriety, it's like, I don't know what the next right thing is. What's the next right thing? The next right thing is definitely difficult to filter out from the obsessive thinking, but with time and practice, it can get easier. But I'm sitting here talking to you 9 years sober and telling you that I still have to work really hard at it. So remember the other day, and I was talking about you're okay right now, you're okay right now, you're okay right now. Um, it starts there. It starts with a breath. You're okay right now. And I mean, just acknowledging I'm okay right now, nothing's coming to get me. These feelings that are inside of me can't swallow me, you know? Um, I'm okay right now. So the next thing that I can do is, and I start going through all of these different things that I can do. And what I believe I need to do, and I can do it tonight or tomorrow, is make a list of the different things that I can do. So I have all my hobbies that I brought, and I don't mean, and that's what I started out with this morning is, okay, well, I'm going to start my crochet my blanket. I'm going to make some jewelry. And I think what I need to do is have my hobbies as one of the things because there's some other things that I can do that are, I think, more helpful to fend off loneliness. One is go to another meeting. I didn't even think of that until right this minute. Is I can always go to an afternoon or evening meeting. I don't have to go to my 2 meetings in the morning and then that's it. You're not allowed to go to any more meetings. Like I didn't even think of that. Can you believe that? I haven't even thought about going to another meeting until right this minute. So that's why I'm doing this podcast because I'm better when I'm trying to, isn't it always I don't take my own advice? So it's like I'm trying to give advice here. So I get to listen to myself. Anyway, I can go to another meeting. Number two, I can text a friend. Number three, I can call a friend. And number four, I can feed myself some nutrition would be nice because when I feel loneliness, if my stomach is growling, I will ignore it. So some of you who've been listening for a long time know that I have had bouts with some eating challenges, we'll call it eating disorder, where I got really, really small and really unhealthy small. And it's because when I feel stress, depression, anxiety, loneliness, any of these things, I won't eat. So that's another thing that I'm making sure that I do is that I'm eating my meals. Did I eat lunch today? See, that's what I'm talking about. I don't think I ate lunch today. So I didn't. I had Twizzlers with my mom. So I had breakfast, but I didn't have lunch. So here we go. This is another thing that I'm learning about myself today. I'm so happy I'm doing this podcast because what is number 5? Do my podcast. I was almost not going to do my podcast today simply because of the lonely feeling. And if I hadn't have done the podcast, hadn't had done the podcast, I would have just been sitting in my lonely feeling. So, so that's another thing is I always have the opportunity to record. I always have the opportunity to make a short from my podcast, like upload a short piece of my video to YouTube. So there's always different things. I can write an article based on a podcast. So many, come on, people, there's so many things for me to do. Why am I complaining? Um, and I can also go outside for some fresh air and bring the dogs out there. And I sprayed myself with some bug spray, so hopefully I don't get bitten. So I feel like this was a very successful podcast. I want to make sure that I also stick to my program where I'm doing my inventory at night. And I think that because I'm not really interacting with many people right now, that my inventory should also include how am I treating myself? Am I being kind to myself? Am I practicing self-care? I've got all the time in the world right now. Am I using it? Am I using it to my benefit? I want to make sure that I'm focusing on that. I need to make sure that I reach out to my sponsor, and anytime that I can be of service while I'm here, call other newcomers in sobriety and reach out to them and see how they're doing. I believe that this week is going to go pretty fast. I mean, I told my psychiatrist that I was like, as much as I feel like I have all the time in the world and that I'm fending off some loneliness, I said, I think I'm going to find that I didn't have enough time. Um, so let's wrap it up. I think that what what bothers me the most is when I feel the loneliness kind of I'm slipping into it. And what I fear right now, the reason why I'm saying that is because when I hit stop, the house is going to be quiet again. And it happens just like that. This immediate like feeling of emptiness. So what am I going to do when I stop? When I stop recording, I am going to eat my dinner and I'm going to, I think, catch up on the news real quick. The news is something I don't have to look at the screen, so I like to do that. And I can listen to my book and I can work on writing up everything for social media. So I think I'm good. And I only have like 2 hours till bedtime. So I think we're good. The dogs are sleeping. Anyway, thank you for being here for me today. This is what I need. This is all about me today. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for listening. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Sometimes you guys don't even know how much you saved me. You really don't. You really don't. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.